You're talking about Star Story Solution.
Yep, Star Story Solution scripts. Yeah, in the solution section, it essentially talks about how you format the solution to whenever the person gets past the story and they're at the solution part. So essentially some ideas on like how to maintain that solution section. But yeah, that essentially wraps up the secret number 20.
Okay.
And it's pretty, yeah, it gets pretty detailed in the book, but yeah.
What do we got up next?
All right, so up next is secret number 21. So in this part, it's still talking about the unboxing funnels scripts. So this is also the one-time offer script here. Once you get, for instance, the book, you get the book and then you get a one-time offer once you get the item. And then it comes in a pamphlet and it lets you know exactly what you can get if you act now. So, yeah, it goes into detail about how to formulate some of that stuff for the one-time offer script. Yeah, it talks about scarcity and call to action, stuff like that, future pacing, value stacking, which is really neat. But yeah, it's really neat.
Sweet. Yeah, a lot of these scripts are all based on similar things. So like the one thing and calls to action, scarcity. These are all things that again work on the basic human psychology. So they're going to repeat themselves throughout each script. It may say something different for a unboxing script where we want you to open a book or open a box of a package versus a presentation funnel script. But at the end of the day, I'm going to have to provide some credibility to show you that I'm the person that can help you solve your problem, and that I either have a product or service that's going to solve your problem, and then break down your false beliefs about your ability to either use my product or service or to get the result that you want because of your own limitation, your own insecurity. And then we tell you what that's going to feel like, that future pace, what it's going to feel like when your problem is solved, so that you can get through the fear of those false beliefs.
For sure. Because obviously you want to like get a feeling for if the product works or not for you, but then those false beliefs disappear and then you have no choice but to say yes. So secret number 22 talks about the perfect webinar script. This is stuff related to whenever you're going to go live and whenever you're going to essentially bring people in that you haven't been able to bring in otherwise, but they are now at a point where they're like, okay, they're your warm or hot traffic, and they're like, all right, I definitely know I want to do this, and I'm going to sit out some time and watch this, and they're going to be in. So it talks about how, you make big promise. There's a big promise you do in the intro, and then it's hook to end, and it also sends you through exactly how you can stack your offer and like how you can present that stack in the webinar to where, not only are they just sitting there listening to what you have or what you can provide for them, but as you're doing it, they're more and more inclined to just be there. You're breaking down all these barriers of like questions and things like that you might have, but you also have the opportunity during the webinar or sometimes at the end of it, sometimes during it, depending on how you present it. But you can also ask your questions yourself directly to the person that's on the webinar. And yeah, it just explains how you can make your webinar very effective.
And this is a script that is usable for pretty much any business that you have, especially if you have an info product. This is the perfect webinar script is what I use for our Farfetch DIY Secrets presentation. It's basically just structured to walk you through some content, but again, showing the person how your solution is going to solve their problem, breaking down any false beliefs about it, and then, giving them an offer of your product or your service. But the perfect webinar walks you through how to offer stack, how to have a core offer plus a bunch of bonuses that also help that person solve their problem. But say it's dieting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your core offer is going to be your diet. So maybe it's a 30-day diet, and you either give it away free as a lead magnet, or you give it, you sell it for cheap as a actual product. And then, once they've gotten on that routine of being on the diet daily, now it's like, well, I want to exercise. So you offer them, maybe you partnered with a fitness trainer, and you offer them 10 hours of fitness training at a discount. Now that they have their diet going, they're getting into fitness training, and they want to take it to the next level. So they want to sign up for Tough Mudder or one of those big races or something like that. And then you partner with Tough Mudder or a company that does those types of events and give your customers a discount to sign up and register for that event. And so as you're adding bonuses, these can be bonuses, or these can be, stepping up the value ladder. You have to decide where you want to place these things and the value that, financially that they have for your customer. But ultimately, you want to have more than just one thing that you're offering to people, because once this problem is solved, they're going to have another problem. That's just the nature of life. And so you want to try to solve all of the problems that are commonly associated with your niche market, and then provide those to the customers that you're trying to serve.
Precisely. So once you figure out how to, essentially put your webinar together and things like that, secret number 23 talks about product launch scripts. So to give you a brief idea, it talks about the wow and how, transformational education, external forces, and then what the actual offer is. So the how and wow is essentially letting them know, or the wow and how is what I should say. Mm-hmm. So it's wow and then how, like, oh, that's neat. Now, how did that happen? Pretty simple.
It's like a magic trick.
Yeah.
People want to know how it works.
Exactly. Transformational education is essentially you letting them know what resources. This is when you really start pulling out the resources here. Letting folks know that it's usually a lot easier to gain access and knowledge. Every day it gets easier. Essentially just using what you have to do exactly what you would like to do versus just doing whatever the device is telling you to do, and then it goes to external forces. Like we mentioned before, future pace, like looking at some roadblocks and things like that. And then after that, you hint to the offer, and then you let them know exactly what the offer is after that. So the product launch scripts, this secret number 23 goes into detail about each of those 4 parts.
Oh.
Yeah. So, I mean, man, it's just great with the figures and the, like, right. They just outline it so.
They really show you every possible way that you can understand the concept. They have a way to show it to you. Whether that's the figures in the book, the writing in the book, and then even at the end of most of these sections, they'll tell you where to go on the website to find the resources that are right there in the book. And you can either print it out, or you can have a more nuanced version of what's in there.
The only thing missing is a touchscreen page or something.
I mean, if you're reading it on a Kindle, or something like that, it might have, a hyperlink where you can just click straight through.
That's probably true. So next up, it goes in section 3. It talks about the back-end phone funnel scripts. So You've already talked about the front-end funnels. We've talked about the unboxing funnels. Now we're going to get to the back-end phone scripts. And secret number 24 talks about 4-question close scripts. So this is how you're going to disqualify, your client. Because if they've gotten this far, you want to make sure that you have exactly what they need and that you are able to help them.
In my book, it talks about that as being phase 3 of the 7 phases of the flow.
Oh, nice.
I'll get into that in my section 3 a little bit.
Nice. So yeah, it just goes through 4 different questions. And
what are the questions?
So the questions, imagine you and I were starting to work together today. I teach you everything I know and do everything I can to help you get results. I guess the question is, what would make you believe that this was the best decision you ever made? That's one of the first questions that they pose.
Okay. What's question number 2?
So question number 2 talks about what has been standing in your way or holding you back.
Okay.
And it's neat because, you know, and it gets into detail about each one of these, but then question number 3 reaches out to like what resources, talents, connections, or skills do you have that you're currently not using to fulfill or to the fullest potential. So yeah, like we were just talking about, like having more and more access to information than ever before, but you know, utilizing it properly,
right?
Or at least to do what you want. And question number 4 is essentially, do you want me to help you to achieve your goals? So throughout asking these questions, you are disqualifying folks if they are not able to keep up with whatever is going to be next. Because obviously, if it takes this much to get to this point, this is a product that's probably going to be changing your life in some way.
Yeah, I like that it's called the 4-question close funnel, because all of those questions are from the trial closes. If you read the perfect webinar script, you'll see the trial closes, and I think there's 16 of them. And all of those are closes that he uses in there. So it's really starting to close you from the jump, and then it makes an offer at the end.
That makes sense, yeah. And yeah, it goes into great detail too. So secret number 25, setter and closer script.
Okay.
So the setter scripts and the closer script are different. So imagine in volleyball when you set the ball so that somebody can spike it, right? I mean, you know, obviously it's harder to spike a ball by yourself because it takes a lot of effort. But like if you have a setter, you know, I think that's also, it's referencing volleyball here with the set, like you set it in volleyball, and then the closer is the spiker essentially. But yeah, it gives you essentially different types of scripts that you can use to do those things easier. I mean, me as a customer service guy, I feel like I'm a better setter than I am a closer.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's just out of my experience.
And there's parts of this book that talk about setting up so this is for the back end phone funnels. There's sections of, I think, Dotcom Secrets, but it may be Expert Secrets, that talks about setting up a 2-person phone bank, where one person is the setup person and they're qualifying the leads, and then the other person is a closer where they know they have a qualified lead and they know exactly what to say to close them on the deal. And that's basically what that is. And I believe in particular that one is set up for the phone. You can do this on the internet as well, as far as like responding to messages and things like that, but you would want to have 2 people because it creates a little credibility and separation so that you don't feel like the same person is setting you up that is selling you. It's an interesting thing that works on, again, human psychology, but this is an old tactic that's worked since the early 1900s, since there were phones. So yeah, this is basic sales.
Yeah, dude. So like section 3 is pretty well packed with some good information that you could definitely benefit from.
Yeah.
And section 4 goes into building your funnels. But yeah, we'll get into that next time.
Ooh, stick around for building your funnels. I mean, that's really what you came here for, is learning how to build your funnels. We're going to continue on section 3 today. We're going to get into my section 3 here in a moment.